Hey guys, Anime West Reacts. There's going to be a video for Seraph of the End, chapter 98. So this chapter is titled The King's Chambers. And so yeah, starts the chapter off with just this like night. And you see this house, and then there's people talking, saying, or someone's like complaining, saying, Owari, they're finally asleep. But like someone being annoyed because everyone wouldn't go to sleep anyway. And it says, geez, they really don't want to go to bed. And we see Mika, he's saying, yeah, now I'm beat. To you saying, I'm wide awake now. So they're talking to each other. Mika says, not tired at all, huh? And then, yeah, Yu says, nope. Hey, are you feeling hungry? And then Mika says, a little, I think. And then it says, good, cup noodle time. Then I guess the other one says, Mika or Yu says, cup noodle time. And then you have Demon Mika like looking in. He's just going, so he's like hiding or like standing outside the room looking in at them. So cover page is just Demon Mika looking in at them. It says the King's Chamber. So yeah, I see them eating the cup noodles, and then it's Mika or Demon Mika like in the background pretty much just looking. And it says, who are these two? I don't know. I haven't a clue yet. For some reason they're so precious. And he goes outside and he's thinking, or he says, yes, very precious, have to protect this place for them. And he looks over and sees this coffin, and he says, I have to keep this world safe and make certain no one else sneaks in. And then you see like Kisekio's coffin, or one of Kisekio's coffins, he puts these like cross things around it. And then you got Ashura and Kisekio like looking in the coffin pretty much, and Shira's like, well, and Kisekio's like, it'll work. I think I should be able to get there without him noticing. And then immediately the coffin flies open, and Kisekio gets like pinned to the ceiling. And then, yeah, Shira's like, uh-oh, and then Kisekio's like, yeah, because you see it like he's holding it back. And he says, Gert, he took some of my power. And the sheriff's like, what's that about getting in unnoticed? Kisekio says, I can't move, get me down. And yeah, Sheriff says, aw, must I? It's so much effort. And then you see him like shimmy up there pretty much and just pull him off. Or pulling Kisekio off the spike pretty much, because it like pierced right through him. Yeah, he's just like, huh. And he's like, well, how was the king? And then Shira's like, well, how was the king? Kisekio is like, powerful. And he's like, that's not what I meant. So they land back on the ground, and Kisekio's like coughing because obviously he just got stabbed right through. Kisekio says, or Shira says, impressive. King deals a lot of damage as to be expected. Are you going to die? Kisekio says, hardly. The human I am possessing has learned to let loose far more lately. Devour some of his desire and I'll manage. So he's like rubbing on his injured where he got stabbed, saying, self-heal, heal, pretty much. So yeah, Shira's like, geez, you always make so much noise. And Kisekio says, hey, how about some concern? And Shira's like, true. You dying would put a crimp in our plans, so don't die. And Kisekio says, see, I ever worry about you even if you're on the verge of death. And the Sheriff's laughing and says, so how's the king? And then, yeah, it says, normal, he's absorbed his He's absorbed in his own world of pleasures. However, maintaining that world is going to require a boatload of human desire. Sheriff says that's a problem. He goes about possessing people at random, searching for desires. It'll be incredibly difficult to track him. We could lose him entirely. And he says we need to open a connection pathway quickly and pour desire into it for him. Sorry, I'm doing this, but yeah. And the sheriff says, hurry and heal and open the path. And Gekko's like, don't rush me. And he says, from what I saw, the two of us won't be able to contain him. I'll call for aid. So he snaps his fingers, and Yoichi's demon shows up, and he's like, yo, it took you damn long enough to call for me, Gekko. So Sheriff's like, you have your memories back, Gekko. And he's like, yeah, the moment the king woke up. So Gekko says, hey, why do you have that big freaking hole in your chest? You gonna be okay? And Kasekio's like, there, see, that's how you worry properly. Do you understand now? And then he says, or he asks about what about Raimeki and Byakumaru? And they say, if all of us die now, there wouldn't be anyone to carry out the plan. That's inadvisable, so I haven't called them yet. And then Gekko says, that makes sense. And then, Sorry I'm doing this, but yeah. It's like where my camera is, it's hard to see. But yeah, then Ashera says, enough with the talking, Kasekio. Hurry and heal. If we don't open a path quickly, the king will escape. And Gekko says, yeah, that'd be bad. If the king escapes, Master Sakamoto would be disappointed in us. He'll up. He's like, I'm working on it. Sheesh. Give me 10 seconds. I'll be healed enough to open the path then. Get ready. 10, 9, and then Gekko said, that one of the king's attacks. And then he said, Ashira says, yeah. And then it says 8, 7, and then Gekko says he feels strong, should have expected as much from the first child. I'm gonna need a little more power than usual. So Gekko just says, hey Yoichi, need power, gimme. It's just that simple with him. And so then you got a ton of arrows appear around him. Then Shira says, wow, that's all you needed to do to get power. You're certainly on good terms with your human. And Gekko says, got lucky and found a decent guy. What? You're not all that close to yours? And thinks about Yu's whole, you're my friend. And then he's like, good question. And Sekio says, I'm ready. So pulls out another coffin. Immediately gets shot by one of the king's attacks. Or gets hit with one of the king's attacks. And so I'm sure it's like, that was quick. So Sekio says I'll open several. Go in one that opens or one that stays open. So I'll just open a bunch and then attack with the one that manages to stay open. So Gekko says sure. Sekio pulls out a ton of coffins and then he sends the arrows into one. Go back into wherever this world Mika's created, and then he says, invaders are coming. And so he's just grabbing the arrows before they can do anything. He's like, oh, I know, I should devour the invaders' desires first. Then we go over to Mahiru and Gurin as they're running, and Gurin's like, damn it, this sucks. And then Mahiru, I guess, is like, oh, now this is rare whining from you. What's wrong, Gurin? He's like, nothing, I'm fine. And Mahiru says, even though you're not the type to complain, he says, I'm totally the type to complain. I do it all the time. And Mahiru says, that's true. You go whining to Shinya and the others all the time, don't you? And then he's like, she says, that always ticked me off so much, Gurin says, huh? And she says, yeah, it's not like you have to go complaining to anyone but me. So yeah, sorry about like moving, looking around and stuff. I'll listen to you all your worries and solve all your life problems for you, Gurin. Yeah. And then he's like, my biggest life problem was meeting you. She's like, aw. And then it says, so what really is the problem? And then Gurin says, I let my demon go a little too berserk. Now I'm sore as hell. It says, did you know I'm healing you right now so your shredded muscle fibers don't turn neurotic? And he's like, then be quick about it. How long is it going to take? And then Mahir says, I'd say it'll be at least 10 hours to heal completely. And he's like, 10 hours, ugh. And Mahir says, we don't have time to rest. How much longer is the curse amplifying drug we injected into Mika going to last? And says, not much longer. Oh no, and then she says, oh no, once it wears off, Shikima Doji will be able to locate him much more easily. Then he'll go and capture him right away, so before that happens, we have to find Mika and convert him to a cursed gear. And then Mahir, there's like a spur noise, and he's like, you okay? And she says, I'm fine, it's just a little something that suppresses the cells of the first that were injected into both me and Shinoa. And she's like, Mahiru, hello. And he's like, you aren't weightless anymore, you know, because she's like, that's what it was. I didn't notice that she had, like, injected herself with something. That's what that word was. And he's just like, you aren't weightless anymore, you know? And he's like, God, we're only up against demons in the first and other freaking monsters, and we're already had our butts handed to us. How can we not handle them now? Sheesh. So, yeah, then we go back to Shinoa, Yu, and Cruel. Shinoa saying, like, where we ended the last chapter, pretty much, where Shinoa was asking Cruel to tell her what did her sister do? So, yeah, she says, you had your precious brother. We ended the last chapter off where this is starting, pretty much, where we got, like, Mahir showing up in front of Cruel, and she's saying, you had your precious brother stolen by the first. I had my entire life stolen away from me and turned upside down. The family I was born into was a cult created by the first. The body I was born into was implanted with the first 7 cells. And she's like, I'm so beautiful, so earnest. I have such big boobs, but I'm not even permitted to fall in love. My entire life has been calculated and planned out. It's all a dance choreographed by Shikima Doji to play out on his whim. Do you know, it's already decided that this year on Christmas Day I'm going to die a sacrifice at the moment the upcoming calamity destroys the world. And she says, don't you think that's utterly unfair? I do. And Cruel's like looking away. And she's like, I don't care about your life story. Where is the sheriff? And then Mahir says, just as I have been my whole life, he's being used by Shikimadu to this very day. And then Cruel, like, immediately just grabs her by the neck and is like, enough of your crap, pretty much. Tell me where he is. And so, yeah, and then Mahir says, now, hold on, please. Have a little patience, your majesty. And then she's like, I have to suppress the first. If possible, I'd like our pact to remain secret so we can carry it out without Shikima Doji interfering. And then Cruel just tightens her grip pretty much, and you see her like coughing up blood. And she just throws her on the floor. And she's like gagging pretty much. And so Mahir says, oh no, my internal organs were rupturing and I can't heal the something. Yeah. The ding was too something. And Krill says, what do you think you're doing? And she's like, but I can't die, not yet. There are people I want to protect. Well, Christmas, we need to work together, Your Majesty. Our interesting thoughts or interests ought to align. You know they are. So keep me from dying by turning me into a vampire. Yeah. Crow's like, what are you doing? What is it you're after? And so she says, what I want, Your Majesty, I want my life to be in my control. Not the First, not the cults, not the fates. I will be the one to pull the strings on my own life. And so yeah, back to the present. And so then Crow's just like, so which one are you now? Is this still all part of your plan? And then Chanel's like, huh, what are you? And then Crow jumps up and attacks, or like goes to stab at her, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? And immediately the wings come out, and First is like, or Sheikah Amato is like, no, that wasn't nice, Cruel. And yeah, the First is like, a mere human wouldn't be able to stand that attack. And then they're like, what? And then Cruel is like, all of you listen to me, our true enemy is Shikama Doji. Mahir's sister and Michaela. Shikama Doji wants to use both of them in his experiment. As of today, I say that he is your enemy. And then he immediately grabs Crow by the mouth and is like, now, everyone, don't let her confuse you. She's just being emotional. Michaela is my precious child. I'm trying to save him. I'm the only true ally that you've got, or that you have. And then Shinoa falls to the floor and is like, wait, what? My consciousness is fading. And then, yeah, in comes Gurin and Mahir through the window. And says, like, she's like, good, the drug is working. He's like, Gurin, how did you, or Yoichi says, Lieutenant Colonel, how did you find us? And then he's like, you went too far away, vampire. And Krill's like, they knocked me out. And Kimizuki's just like, you know each other. And Gurin's like, whatever, we have no time. We're starting the cursed gear right now. Or we're starting the cursed gear right, like now, pretty much. And then he's like, huh, what? So they yell, pretty much, or Gurin's yelling, saying, we're turning Mika into a cursed gear and then attaching him to you before the First can get him. And then he was like, shocked, pretty much, and then says, Mitsuba, Himizuki, we're putting up a barrier outside, get ready. And they're like, Gurin. Yeah. So yeah, it's like, Gurin something, cursed gear, Mika, really? He's like, quit jabbering and move. And the First was like, Ashera, hear me, the humans are headed there, capture Michaela's soul before they do. And Ashera's like, understood. So yeah, overall, sorry if this is a bit longer video, but yeah, where my camera sits, it made it like a bit, doing the new video style pretty much here. Kind of similar to the way I was doing it, but I was using Movie Maker, so now I'm using OBS to record, so that's why I was like having to like move around and try to see, because I'm using like my actual webcam. But yeah, hope y'all enjoyed this reaction. If you do, make sure to leave a like, comment on the video, subscribe for more anime reaction reviews and manga reviews. Check links down below to my Twitter, Twitch, and Discord. Hit that subscribe button, share the video, all that stuff, and yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Yeah, later.